Morning, guys. So, I'm Kevin, just a guy building a wellness brand, trying to stay fit and figuring it out as I go. I thought about it the other day, and well, I think it's time I finally start sharing my journey. So, here we go. Okay, so let's talk about why I'm here. I'm getting on YouTube because I want to talk about my journey in health and wellness. I'm a new founder of the cleanest electrolytes in the market, Rhovive, and building in this space, in this health and wellness space, and working in healthcare as a nurse for almost 7 years now. I think talking about what I want to do physically, mentally, and even emotionally, things like that, it's something that people need to hear, because there are so many founders, so many people in healthcare, so many people who neglect themselves. And it's crazy because you're working and building in a space where you're trying to provide, products, services, and things like that to help people become their better self physically and mentally. So I don't want to be that person who helps others but doesn't help themselves. So let's start off with the first thing that I really want to get into is peaking athletically. Right, so I wrote down peaking athletically because I've played sports growing up. I still work out, I run, I play basketball. And at the age of 30, so many people give up on that. Give up on just being their best version of themselves physically. And I think I'm not going to try and, ego lift or try and play, basketball in a weird way that affects the game. I'm going to try and do things the right way, but still trying to achieve certain goals that I think I can still reach at 30. I don't think at 30 we're that old. There's, for whatever reason, this stigma that at 30 you're done physically. And I want to change that. So let me get into some deep work, and I'll talk about some of the other, goals and aspirations that I have with health and wellness. So. So I just finished some social media stuff and things like that, trying to organize some other things, planning for events and things like that. I'm going to go visit my PT because, look at this. This is what I used to use to just be able to be active, a bunch of knee braces, a bunch of things. But now that I've been more conscious about strengthening weaknesses physically and things like that, it's changed my life for the better physically. So let's go. Okay, so before I get into this PT session, I want to talk about energy, right? Energy is more than just physically waking up and getting things done. It's also about your mental drive, your mental will, that passion that sometimes we lose. How do you keep it going? How are you able to just, push through days where you don't want to do things? And you're going to see me in this journey, throughout every vlog, challenge myself to push myself to see, okay, even though this isn't the best day, even though this isn't the best outcome, I'm going to keep going and showing up every day, because that's honestly what it's all about. This isn't a perfect formula to success. This is just a day in and day out, and showing how each day is important and every day is something you can learn from.
But definitely that raspberry, bro. It hit good. I had a great run yesterday. I haven't ran in a minute.
I saw you're going to do a half marathon?
Yeah, so.
Have you done it before? Or? I'm actually about to do the rib run.
Yeah? Okay, yeah.
10K.
How'd you feel after the knee last time?
That was good. That was the first time, and it felt interesting, especially like the day after.
Yeah? And how's basketball been feeling? I saw you've been in a league.
Yeah, it's been feeling good. I haven't actually felt as much discomfort, especially like after. It's mainly like, after playing, things like that. So the next topic that I want to get into is getting stronger. I can't peak athletically without getting stronger. Getting stronger also helps me enjoy sports, enjoy daily activities, and just enjoy my day-to-day in general. That's why I seeked help from Dr. Mike. I was dealing with this back injury for some time now, and he helped me understand I have weaknesses and imbalances within my body. That being said, he shows me multiple exercises that can help improve that. Right now we're doing dry needling that'll help also improve that. And it's also fun just chopping it up with him, picking his brain and learning, anything to help me understand how I can just improve physically. You think this is better than deep tissue massage, or they serve different purposes?
Different purposes, but I would say this is leagues better. But really, the number one thing that gets people better is time. To be big on is I don't do a lot of static stretches with people. I don't really recommend a lot of those. I don't think they're bad. Same thing with deep tissue. It's like if you've done it in the past and it's been helpful, go for it. I have no problem. It's not gonna do you any damage. If you notice our last session, you did stretch. You just didn't do a static stretch. I put you on the machines, on the cables, and I had you go into a deep range, and where you're limited, and then use the muscles to bring yourself out of it, right? And that's much more relative to playing a sport, lifting, right? You go to a deep range, but then you got to use yourself to get out of it. Versus a stretch, you don't really have to worry about that.
That's what I like to do,
Yeah, gotta get it working.
Yeah, testing. Yeah. So why am I even here? Well, about a year ago, I went to my doctor complaining of some back pain. What he told me was I was actually dealing with sciatica and that I should stop lifting heavy and playing basketball. Now, I didn't like that answer, and luckily I found Mike at a wellness event, and after a couple tests, we found some imbalances on my left hip. I didn't realize how limited range of motion I had and how weak my internal and external rotation was. We even did some tests to see. Look at these results. Now, Mike does a great job in explaining to me what my workouts should be focused on and how I should approach them. Like here, I feel like I'm figuring out how to get myself off the ground.
And again, that's that C word, coordination,
Yeah.
right? Mobility isn't stretching, it isn't this, it isn't that. Mobility is moving from point A to point B with control, in my opinion. As somebody who wants to be athletic for a while, right? Sports aren't played like this.
Correct,
right? Sports are played like this,
moving,
like that, in odd positions, with one foot being a lead leg, another foot being a staple. We spend a lot of time doing bilateral movements, so if you look at leg extension, squat, 2 legs at once, trying to do some more unilateral training. And that's what this is.
Okay. Yeah.
Can help prepare the tissue better, so that it's going to be protected for the joints that you require for jumping, but 2, it's going to allow your back to start learning how to absorb the jumping forces.
Yeah.
It's already doing that when you're playing, but you're having symptoms. So now it's going to take it from a level, from that level that's higher to a lower level to start building up the solids. Okay.
Okay, so that was a good workout, man. Working out with Mike is always fun. That was my second workout with him. It's not just a workout, it's actually a learning experience. He gave me some therapy. Then he focused on certain things that have been causing me to have a nagging back injury. He educated me on how my tight hips can result in, my back injury, the sciatica that I've been dealing with. So long story short, man, this is part of my journey on how I want to get stronger. Stronger physically to enjoy sports, stronger physically to enjoy a lot of things in my life. 30 is not old. I don't understand why people keep, pushing that narrative like, oh, you're 30, slow down. No, man, 30 I feel like is a time where we can strive, we can push ourselves, and getting strong to be able to do things, to be able to physically handle, doing events, then playing in a basketball tournament, then running a 10K. I think this is the time to do it. You just have to prepare yourself for it. And getting, the treatment from specialists like Mike and others who are trained day in and day out to educate you, getting things like that done, even if it's once or twice, even once in your lifetime, to understand what you need done, is something that I think everyone should, experience every once in a while. Okay, so right now I'm gonna go eat. I'm gonna make a post as well. You'll see this in a little bit. And yeah. Okay, so I just got home, made myself some lunch. Well, really, I just bought some pollo. If you don't know, pollo is probably the best thing you can do, especially if you're busy. Just get a whole chicken, rice and corn, rice and beans, whatever the case may be. And you got like 2-3 meals, depending on how much you eat. After I finish eating, I'm going to get into the topic of confidence. Well, just finished eating lunch, wrote down a couple notes on my iPad, and even found time to take like a 10-minute nap. Sometimes you need to just stop and rest. Anyways, let's get back to my final 2 points. The main one being confidence. I want to show my journey and how I build my confidence. I'm confident in many things, but there are some things or some times where I lack it, and I want to understand how I can just sustain it or always find a way to get back to a certain level. And then last but not least is doing things that may scare you, myself, doing things that may, feel impossible. Because at the end of the day, when we live life, we just want to do things that we feel like we can look back on and be proud of, learn from, or just, feel like it's awesome to share. Those are my biggest things. This is just the first vlog of many. I got to go back to finishing some other things. We have so much to do. I have to figure out how to, work on my marketing because we're changing the label. We're changing a lot of things in our product, and this will be a little bit interesting. And then I got to work at the hospital throughout this weekend. So there's going to be a lot. I'm going to try and vlog at least once a week just to share, different day in the lives or different, aspects or what I'm thinking of at the moment, just to stay consistent. I want to try and do this maybe every Wednesday, every Friday, and we'll see. So let me get back to doing some other things and catch you guys later. So